Are you ready?
Go.
Let's go.
Boom.
Oh, wow. Today is one bitter. What are we drinking today?
We're having ethical, rich coffee, ladies and gentlemen. And today, out of any other day, is the day where we need it most. We've been sleeping for about 4 hours every night now for the past few nights. Multiple things have happened. As you guys know, we're excited about today's podcast. We got a very, very cool guest. We had to do some research about that, of course. We had Wonder Dynamics video that's coming out, Farhad.
Oh my God, that's gonna be crazy. Today is the last day of processing that video. We have put how we generated the script using GPT-4, how we did the post-processing, and now the main video will go out tomorrow.
It's gonna be crazy. So we're trying to finish all of these stuffs at the same time, and so sleep is definitely lacking. However, of course, we got our drug every single episode, and today's drug is the ethical bean. It is pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's not that bad.
Okay, but we're going to change this next time. We're going to go back to Starbucks, I think.
Yeah.
Still not sponsored, though. We'll figure it out. All right, so Farhad, we have to address the elephant in the room. I just talked about it. We got one of the coolest guests for today's podcast, and I'm just fucking excited. But before I let you even bring him on, I just want to say to every single person watching right now, thank you so much for staying up until now. So many episodes have come out, so many cool guests, and we're just going to keep doing this every week. As you know, we've doubled down. Now we have two
podcasts per week. We started with weekly schedules. Now we were like, oh my God, there are so many people that we want to talk to. Yeah. We have to do 2 episodes per week now.
Yeah, and like always, if you have anyone that you like in this space that you want us to talk to, always let us know in the comments. We'll check it. We'll invite them. And hopefully when they accept, we'll talk to them. It's going to be fucking amazing. Farhad, who the fuck do we have on today?
So who we have today as our guest, you have probably seen him with an VR headset all over social media.
Everywhere. I don't think I've seen him without a VR headset.
His profile picture is with a VR headset. His LinkedIn is a VR headset. Yeah. Our guest is coming all the way from Germany. Ben, welcome to the show.
What's up, Ben?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Ben, I have to ask you, you have that VR headset everywhere. And now with the Apple VR headset coming up, are you going to change the profile picture to the new Apple headset?
Good question. I'll probably just generate like some AI new one and just have something like I'm gonna skip like 3 versions ahead with like, you know, something like that.
I like that. I like that. But I actually want to know, are you team Meta? Are you team Apple? Or do you not take any sides? Are you like, you know what? Whatever technology is better, I'm going to go for that?
Yeah, whatever technology is better, because I have my whole setup. I use like Meta headsets since years. I've actually only owned the Meta ones just because I like how they work. I like how, you know, the first one was just plugged into my computer. Then they started going wireless. I love that. Now I have, I have one that's always plugged into my computer. Plus I have the Meta Quest Pro, and I just love, you know, being flexible. But I have my systems the way I like to work. And as long as that all, you know, all of the tools that I like to use carry over to like the Apple headset, and let's say that experience is better, then I would switch. That's just how it is. Yeah.
So what are your expectations now from the Apple VR headset? Because I think this is the headset that is coming up with a lot of hype. I think they probably wanted to announce it in February. Everyone was posting about it. I saw photos of it. Yeah. Then they said, oh, not yet. Now they are saying maybe in June. But, I mean, nobody knows.
And the thing is, like, it's rumored. I mean, they haven't really said, yes, we're coming out with it. It's always a rumor that comes out first. There's always these photos that get released online. You never know what it's going to actually look like. But I think everybody sort of gets an idea of, okay, you know what? I think it's happening this year. First of all, do you think it's, I mean, I don't know. I haven't done the full research about this. Do you know if it's actually coming out? And also, what's your expectations, like Farhad said?
Yeah, so in terms of knowing if it's coming out, I'm not even saying anything about that anymore because of exactly what you mentioned. It's been delayed, and then everyone's all of a sudden was like, it's about to be announced. And I decided like, okay, I'm just going to wait till we actually know more, or they give like an official date. But I think it's so often in the past years, there's been that moment where, okay, now Apple's doing it, like Apple's doing AR, you know, AR kit and all that stuff. Now people are paying attention. Now the developers are moving in that direction. So I think we're all kind of expecting, like, is this going to be a game changer for the whole XR industry with if they can keep up their level of quality and like the due diligence that they've always done when they've brought out a product, this could be really exciting. So I'm definitely optimistic, and I think it will probably be that way. But we will see. Yeah.
You know, I gotta say, first of all, I completely agree with you, and I don't call myself an Apple fanboy. I mean, I
Okay.
do use Apple a lot, but it's not like I don't have an Apple laptop, or I have a PC because it works better for me and what I do in the 3D world. I'm very logical about that. I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm an Android guy or an Apple guy. Just like what Ben said, if I see the technology is working better for me, I'll go for that device. And Apple, for most cases, I would say, does it really well. When you talk about the iPad, the iPhone, the MacBook. The thing is, though, you got to respect Meta for, going back to when they acquired Oculus and when they started working on Oculus, and they really developed that technology. And from what it looks like, Apple's just been watching, seeing like, okay, these are the mistakes.
Yeah,
These are what they're doing right. I'm just going to fucking wait, make sure it's ready, and then we're gonna go in. And the thing is, every single time they went in, they did a marvelous job. Like, you gotta say, 99% of the time when they go in, the product works really well. And just like Ben said, that's when everybody else actually starts investing time in. Right now, you can look at Ben as an early innovator in the space. He's creating all these, cool videos. You even mentioned it yourself. You're prototyping in your bio, right? But whereas the moment when Apple comes in, that's going to become like mainstream. That's usually what happens. So my sort of concern is, how big is this going to get the moment Apple comes in, right? How much is this landscape going to change in like a couple of months? And how easy is it going to be for developers and creators like us, like yourself, to create? Are they going to be providing like a new platform for everyone to create? Like, how crazy is this shift going to be? That's like something I'm always thinking about.
Yeah, especially that last thing you just said about that platform. I mean, obviously they're gonna give us something to work with, and I don't know if you guys have had this kind of idea, but I was thinking about, okay, I've been working a lot with Meta Spark, and I also was dabbling a good amount with Lens Studio. But then when Effect House came out, I was just thinking like, all right, do I want to now also do this right now, or do I want to start working on some of the other things I'm interested in? And like part of me is kind of excited about like web AR taking over, or something like Apple announcing something like, hey, this will cover a lot more ground than trying to have to. I don't know. It's like, okay, you guys use Premiere and After Effects, for example?
Yes.
Okay, something that drives me insane is that that's from the same company, but you do things like that's chroma key in one of them, and
Yes.
it's something in the other, and I'm
It's
like,
different, even though they're supposed to be the same.
yeah, it's like, why trying to
Yeah.
make me learn different? Anyway, so that's just a little rant that have always ready to go. But yeah, so I mean, I'd be crazy excited about like one really strong platform coming out, and kind of being able to really focus my effort in that, and bring in all these other interests that I have, like with 3D, and be able to channel everything and then bring that into that platform, versus right now, like especially with the Effect House thing, I feel like I'm starting to stretch myself thin. I don't
Too
know.
thin. Yeah.
100% I agree with you. 100%.
We have the same fucking problem
it's
every
like, oh my
day.
God, another one. And then I go in, I was like, can you guys just make everything looks the same and feels? I mean, concept is similar.
Yeah.
You don't have to relearn the concept.
No.
But how do you get to the point? How do you want to really achieve that configuration?
And
that is the part that is different.
And the question is, how many softwares do you want to learn to do the exact same thing? Right?
That sums it up perfectly. I think that's
It's like,
yeah.
It's like, even for me, so I switched from Premiere Pro to DaVinci Resolve. I know I'm going to get some love and some hate equally for that. But switching, like, I remember for the first 2-3 weeks, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm literally learning to do the same exact thing in a different software. Very beneficial, though, because I genuinely love the way DaVinci Resolve works. I do miss some things about Premiere, but I just love how DaVinci does have everything that After Effects has and Premiere all in one software,
cool. Awesome.
essentially. Yeah, and I mean, they say it's free, but the moment you actually want to start using it properly, you gotta pay like for all the cool stuff that they have, and it's like a perpetual license. So I've bought it, and I'm using it, and I've fallen in love with it. Like, and I like the change a little bit. But I want to touch on one thing completely unrelated to what we were talking about. One thing you brought out about like Premiere and After Effects being different. The reason why I love Blender so much, and I think you use Blender as well, and Farad has seen me use Blender. He's gotten into Blender himself, and I think everybody who uses Blender agrees with me, is how intuitive that software is. How the control R, like to rotate, to scale, actually works across all the different tabs. Like you want to scale a node, it's the same way you scale it as if you would scale an object in the 3D scene. Like the way everything works within that software is so well designed that I think a lot of other softwares can learn from. Because I know when Farah was getting into like Effect House in the beginning, he was like, okay, there's some things that don't work quite well here.
Doesn't make sense. I mean, you have to go back and read things, and I'm like, oh my god, I've done this before. And I always ask this question: that do I want to, for example, go really deep into Lens Studio or Spark here and learn everything, or no? Should I spend time and do 2 or 3 filters on Effect House? Which kind of guy you are? You want to go deep in one thing, or you want to spread your web all over? It's a tough choice. It's a really tough choice.
I've been battling. I've been in that same kind of thought process and thinking about it. And I kind of made a weird decision. Well, not a weird decision. I made a new decision recently, and it's to learn. And I haven't started yet, but I'm actually going to go Unity, start learning for AR, for like mobile stuff, so
Web
that
AR?
I can jump into Apple, because I'm betting on that a little bit, but they base a lot of their stuff on Unity, and I think it's going to be I'm just gambling a little bit, but I think it's going to be
I wouldn't even say you're gambling. I think
Unity is
like
huge, yeah.
exactly. If you do start out with like, let's say Blender, Cinema 4D, whatever 3D software, and then you kind of want to after a while branch out either into Unreal Engine or Unity, right? Unreal Engine to create like really sick cinematics or like games, especially with like the realistic meta-humans that are out there. But Unity, of course, for like the wide use cases that you have. So I think you're making the right choice. I was at that very road myself. I chose Unreal Engine, right? And of course, I have days where I'm like, fuck, did I make the right choice? Because Web AR with 8th Wall, Niantic works with Unity, if I'm not mistaken. And like this, it's been something we want to jump in for a long time now. Have you tried 8th Wall Niantic with Lightship?
No, I haven't. Because I've been not putting it off, but I keep then doing something that's like gives me more of an instant gratification in the 3D realm or video effects. But I've made that decision to that Unity. Also, what you said, like it's a very flexible. And it's very it touches way more than just games. And I thought like this could be maybe down the line the most beneficial one to learn. So yeah, haven't got into it yet, but I've made the decision, which is sometimes the hardest part.
Yeah,
But
I
do you
agree.
guys see? We are talking about one topic and how many software is coming out. Like
true.
it's really crazy. And like people, and I really want to talk to people who are not in this space and want to jump in and they don't have any experience. And based on your experience, you've been through all these different learning curves with all this software. If someone wants to come in now, like, oh, I want to get into AR, I want to get into VR development, what would be your advice to them? Because now you have tried so many things and now you know how hard is it to, stretch yourself between these stuff. Like, how should they start? What is the first step?
So I'm still like a little biased, but I would say Metaspark is a great way to get into it because they have great templates. And the biggest reason I think is that like when I've searched stuff on YouTube, that has the biggest like essentially a library of you'll find some help here, you'll find a tutorial here, and I think that that's a super big advantage when you're trying to learn something, because then maybe you won't hit those kind of that frustration wall because you actually always find a way to keep going. I could imagine though that Effects House, which is the one that I have the least experience of them with, but I could imagine as that grows, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with TikTok, but that's where a lot of the creators in that space are reporting the big views from Effects House.
Yeah.
So if someone is new, and it could also make sense, why does Might as well just start there.
Yeah, if you're looking for that dopamine, effect house is the way to go. Like I was like, okay, let me
Yeah.
try to just create one filter and just put it out. I created one filter. I used OpenAI DALL-E, created
Yeah.
everything using that. It took me 2 hours. It was a simple face filter. It got 60,000 views. I was like, oh my
I don't
fucking
even.
god.
Yeah, it's fucking. It's like exactly like putting up a video on TikTok. How like your
Yeah.
video can just randomly get like 60,000 views. The same thing can happen to your AR filter. Whereas that probably won't happen on Instagram or on Snapchat.
Yeah, especially for like a new user. But that made me think because I saw so many people posting that in the last months, how many incredibly huge amount of views they got on TikTok. And then kind of for the first time I started asking the question, I'm like, but is it true? Or is it just a number?
You know, on LinkedIn, I see everyone is top 1% creator. I don't know if you see that post. And I was like, how many top 1% we can have? And then when I look at the numbers, they are in millions or sometimes I think billion. I'm
Billions, yeah.
counting the zeros. I'm counting zeros.
I've
I'm
seen the
like
billion
one,
ones,
two,
yeah.
three. I'm like, wow. But again, yeah, you would never know. And I'm really thinking, like, as a brand perspective, how much of those really help the brand to get awareness. I'm not even talking about conversion because that's something that probably you cannot even measure. But at least, oh my God, we created something. Now a lot of people know about us.
Yeah.
Like those kind of things is really hard to measure, I would say.
I actually have a couple of questions that just popped out after talking about this. First things first, we talked about learning. You brought up, going to YouTube for Spark AR. What's your way of learning something new in 3D? Do you go to like Udemy? Do you just randomly search on YouTube? Do you like to go through a linear sort of process of someone with a 30-day course? What's your plan for Unity, for example? How do you recommend people learn
So
it?
directly to Unity for their AR mobile course, because I saw that and I spoke to someone who works at Unity and I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Yes, I was involved in that. It's great." And I said, That's the one for me. But with like Spark, it was YouTube videos. I liked a lot what was being done there and wasn't super into the documentation on their website back then. But then when I had more recently, I think last year even, saw that they have such a good video series there. I actually recommend people there now. When people ask me, "Hey, how should I get started?" I say, go to the Metaspark. They have great video series and like 3 different levels to get you ready to rock. So yeah, and then personally, I've loved giving myself challenges. So I've like right now I'm taking like a rigging course that's also I just found, and it has the different steps, and then I give myself the goal to do one a day. And when it's like an 8-minute video, I'm like, yeah, that's easy. And then once a 30-minute video, you know how it is.
You're
Sometimes
like,
you
fuck.
you end up taking like hours to finally finish it. But yeah, so that's cool.
Well, we have a lot in common. We do the same thing. So I mean, not for the past month or so. Since we started the podcast, we haven't had time to do
Yeah.
it. But we had for a while, we had a 1-hour session early in the morning. So when we wake up straight to the computer, 1-hour session. I did exactly what you did. Personally, I did the animation and rigging course by Piek to Design. His stuff is phenomenal. And I was like learning animation. There was like you said, 8-minute videos and 20 minutes. I'm like, oh shit, today's gonna be a tough one. But it's that baby step that you take every day that I think is amazing. And also at the same time, I do like it when the whole tutorial is packaged for you. I find that to be a lot more tempting and more motivating to begin with. So when you know, okay, this is going to be a 30-day process and this guy has planned it out for me. And that's why I love Blender Guru so much. And I think the whole world loves Blender Guru because you're going to make a donut. Like everyone's going to make a fucking donut at the end. And it worked so well that Everything Everywhere All at Once had it in their movie as well. Like it had so much impact. I think that donut is gonna, like 100 years from now, people are gonna talk about that in the metaverse. Like, do you guys know the first thing was like a donut? It's definitely gonna become a thing. There's one more thing that came out of the previous thing we were talking about, and we talked about like how the numbers, are they real? Like you said, for example, on TikTok or whatever. What is important for you as a creator? Because of course, views matter. But what do you look for when you're uploading so many pieces of content? What is it that you're looking for? Are you looking for how much engagement is this getting? Are you looking for the few meaningful comments that might come out of one video? What is it exactly that you're looking for that is motivating you to put out all these pieces of content in the XR space?
Great question. What was it, last year? I decided I wanted a new opportunity and I wanted to get a new job. And I was looking on LinkedIn and applying to jobs. I was kind of, all of a sudden I was thinking like the job needs to find me. And then I thought, okay, well, how do I make the job find me? And I said, okay, visibility. I was like, visibility. So in January, I think it was last year, I just started, like, I'd done content before, but I just got really serious about it. Like I was trying to get to a point of like one a day, just really producing so much content. And my goal was visibility, and it worked. I got a lot of contract work, I got freelance work, I got a full-time position, got offers. So that was that first goal of that. So to show what I can do, so that those who want what I do, not something else, because I feel like that's what happened. A lot of even the jobs that I was looking for, I'm like, yeah, I could kind of see myself here. But I think when you show what you can do and who you are, you attract the people that want exactly that.
Exactly what.
So that became
Fucking right on.
This is spot on.
So that was the first thing. Right now, I'm pretty happy. I'm actually like almost like on the verge of being too busy. So when I create, it's the stuff that I like. I'm personally just super interested in, and yeah, I would like the views and the likes, because it's the thing of like, I posted a video I think like 2 days ago, and I'm like, oh, I really liked it. I'm really proud of it. And then every once in a while when I check it, I'm like, okay, it's not getting, getting okay. I don't know.
Do you have those moments? Like we have a lot of those moments. Like we create a lot of content, and sometimes I'm like, oh my god, this is not gonna work. Like this is not it. I put those will get a lot of views, and I spend time like 3-4 days on a video. I'm like, oh my god, this is the best video.
This is gonna be a hit.
This is the most complex thing I've ever done. 10 views. I'm like,
no one gave a shit. Yeah.
You get those moments too?
Yeah, of course. I think even there's every once in a while I'll have this idea and I'm like, oh my god, like my girlfriend will look over and she's like, what, she knows already, because my eyes are just super wide. I'm sitting there, have this idea, and I'm like, this is the idea, and then I'm like, this is really gonna speak to people. This is really gonna do it. And so often those have not blown up, and I wonder. I think part of it is like, as a team of one, I'm like too close to it. I'm like too in love maybe with this idea. Maybe I'm not telling it from the correct perspective sometimes, I think that could even be it. And then sometimes when you just do a video and it's something that's maybe a little less effort, or you're just like, okay, I'll post it. Like, so often I've been like, am I even going to post this? And I do. And then sometimes those just do so well. And I'm thinking like, I have no idea how
how does this working? What is the algorithm doing?
Yeah, exactly.
We have a thing among ourselves, fudding. So we fud each other's content all the time, and we fud ourselves. We say that, oh my god, this is not gonna work. Oh my god,
the fear, uncertainty, doubt,
and like it's all the time with us. And what we told ourselves is, no matter what, we should post it. Like we shouldn't care, because our personal bias opinion doesn't really help. And to make things worse, Faraz created a daily vlog challenge for us. So not only we are doing that, we are now creating daily vlog on YouTube to put the whole day what we are doing throughout the day. So to make sure that we are not missing any point in documenting. So that's also another big challenge that we took. But again, what you mentioned is very true. Like, sometimes you have those ideas, but it doesn't translate to people. And sometimes you are like, oh my god, this is so obvious, and people are going wild. I was like, this is genius. This is the best thing we've done. But this is what it is. Yeah.
It just, I think, just like you mentioned, when you went hard on it and you started posting every day, that's when you started seeing the result of people finding you for you. And I think that's true in every single industry. Like anybody that comes to me and talks to me and wants advice, not that a lot of people are asking me for advice, but just a few that has ever done, I always tell them the same thing. I'm like, I get it, maybe what you're doing doesn't sound like you can create content out of it, but trust me, you can. You can be a janitor and create content and have like 1 million subscribers and then end up getting paid like $1 million to clean places. Like literally, like this is the most absurd example, but I genuinely believe that is true in today's world. And so I think as long as you're passionate about what you're doing and you want to make it work, as much as you might even hate social media and the politics and all that. It's just the way to put yourself out there, and it doesn't get any simpler than that. Just make videos every day. We're trying to do that. It's tough. It's not easy. I don't think, if you go back to day one of Benfluencer becoming Benfluencer or us becoming Bad Decisions, I don't think it was an easy choice. I don't think the road has been easy in any way, but I would say we all rather do this than go do something we don't love doing, right?
That's true.
So I would say it's just keep creating content is the only way to go about it.
Yeah. But if you guys are doing those videos every day, what's the editing time like that on?
So that's why we slept 2 a.m. last night. So we have a cutoff time of 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. we are behind the computer editing the
Actually,
vlog.
no, it's supposed to be
7
6 p.m.
Yeah,
so
but-
sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 8.
Yeah, so and then it goes until 12 or 1 or 2 every night, and then the morning we post it. So we are day 30 now, and we have survived
Done 30
so far.
days, so it's in a monthversary right now for us of 30 days of vlogging.
Wow.
The thing is, from outside when you look at it, it just looks like an extra piece of work we added. And of course, when it comes to daily vlogs, since it's about the life of us, and it's not just about like 3-second cuts, like how we both create our content on Instagram. This is more like long form, right, on YouTube. At first there's like almost no result, no revenue. Like it's gonna be like that for a very, very long time. The way we're banking on it is just a way to discipline ourselves. Inspired by Casey Neistat, who was like one of the biggest daily vloggers, is just a way to discipline ourselves. Because right now, not only do we have the daily vlog, what that forces us to do is to literally cancel everything else in our life. Whatever else we had planned, everything else. You want to go to the gym? Nope, cancel today. You want to go out? Nope, sorry, can't do it. And when we do that, it gives us time to focus, like that 6 or 8 hours extra that we have during the day before we start editing. We're really going to work on that AR experience. We're really going to push that project that we want to push because we are like, we don't have time, or else we're just going to keep editing vlogs and that's going to be it. So it's more of a discipline. The creativity, of course, all of that stuff is great, pushing us to create every day. But mostly, honestly, it's about this. It's like military. Right now, this house, this studio,
It's a military camp.
It's a freaking military camp right now.
That's wild. But you're done with the 30 days, or are you continuing?
No,
No.
continue.
It's
continue. It's
infinite until we give up kind of thing.
Yeah, so
Wow.
we're gonna go. We're gonna go. And the good thing about it is because now what we know is people don't want to see us do the same thing every day.
Yeah.
So I cannot be saying that, I'm cooking pizza today or I'm, making shake for myself.
Yeah.
I have to think of the next thing. And that made me go and find out new AI tools to try to be able to create content. If not, I will say that, okay, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it's daily. What am I going to do today?
Yeah.
If not going today, I don't have it. Yeah.
An infinite push. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Infinite push. I mean, you're doing a similar thing when you said you're uploading every day. I mean, it doesn't matter which platform it's on. Our one is just a little bit more long form. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Maybe the edit takes a little while longer, but it's essentially the same thing as uploading every day. There's no difference. It's just a way to get visibility for what you're doing. And we genuinely recommend this to anybody watching. If you're supposed to do something and you've been putting it off, just fucking do something daily. Like if it's the learning, Unity. You want to learn Unity. You want to learn, AR. Just put a daily goal. And I think that's like the best way to go about it. There's no other way. But Ben, I don't want to keep talking about us. This is about you. So we can do that for like 10 hours. Trust me. You posted on LinkedIn about the Metaverse and AI, and I'm just going to quote you right here. The Metaverse's unveiling was steeped in hype and visionary thinking, whereas AI's emergence was characterized by practical applications and real-world advancements. Do you think, because you mentioned the Metaverse and AI trajectory is different, do you think that the Metaverse was hyped a little too early for its actual applications, or do you think no, it was necessary to hype it around whenever the time it was hyped because people need to just start paying attention? Because when AI came about, like the moment the AI hype was there, boom, all these applications, we can't even keep up with the applications. There's so many. When the Metaverse talk came out, okay, there's this videos, but then I can't actually get in the Metaverse. I can't actually see it.
That's
so
the
what is your
difference,
take on
right?
that?
Like with AI, there was in the beginning, sure, I think Dolly really started the hype. Mid Journey, both of those, I think both of those as they were unfolding, you couldn't get into. They were closed betas, but that opened pretty quickly. All of a sudden, you could. I mean, fast forward to today, there's so many tools that you can look at a tool and then 5 minutes later you're in the tool, right? You signed up, you
Yeah.
can either buy it or free trial. And that barrier to entry just went away because you can use it on your phone and it's so approachable. And it was here and it is here and it is now. And then if we go backwards, so the unveiling of the metaverse was so interesting because someone, as you guys mentioned, I'm in VR all the time. Everything in those vision videos as Mark Zuckerberg started to show, I was like looking at it and I said, yeah, this is an obvious place where we will be going. And then he's like,
Yeah.
and he straight up said, this is not something that's like, he didn't say it like this, but he said it essentially saying like, we don't have a product right now for you. This is a vision. We are on our way to this journey over the next decade. And you can't actually do something like that, right? Because marketing people are like, people want it. People are asking me, I need to sell this today. So it was like, Gucci's in the metaverse, and it was Roblox, and it was this, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden things that are all of a sudden the metaverse, and the metaverse is here, and like this. So the story that was being given and like what happened immediately after was that those didn't even match up. And that alone
Yeah.
is a reason of why it was automatically overhyped because it was, yeah, it's just,
It
Yeah.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
It didn't actually exist.
yeah, it was a,
But when no, the question, because you are always in the VR, and I'm sure you have friends or people who come to you. Do they tell you that, hey, don't like it's just a hype what you're doing, or like do you get those comments from your work because people are not really into metaverse yet?
I think mostly people see then and understand what I'm doing. So like the work that I'm doing is working in VR and working collaboratively in VR, which I think is a super future workflow that's not the
Yeah.
future anymore. Like this is just becoming standard. Through COVID, then the ability to collaborate in VR, it's so obvious that it's just a better way when you try it and especially for 3D stuff. And then I think that's going to just trickle down for so many things because I've had great conversations that are just like so long. You're just working in there, and even though it kind of sometimes you're talking to like an avatar of a person, or sometimes it's just that floating headset of a person, it's still somehow different. It's different than when you have that person's actual movements and um, so it's just something that I really like. I believe as the technology advances, as our internet speed just become insane, as those avatars become crazy photorealistic, I don't have any doubt about it. I've often said when people ask me about like, oh, do you still believe in the metaverse or the future of the metaverse? I said, like, this is happening. Like, what's being shown will happen. The question is, will we call it the metaverse in 10 years? I don't know. Do we call it the World Wide Web? That part, like, doesn't interest me, right? Because I would do workshops on this. I said,
It's just a name.
yeah, these technologies that we're talking about and what's being shown, and that's all going to happen for sure because it's really cool and it's just going to just keep getting better, and it's going to be an intuitive and immersive and interesting and easy experience. And therefore, yeah.
It's great what you brought up, and since you're someone that I've seen videos that we've been using it, I've seen you using Gravity Sketch a lot on your social media. But what are the other areas that I have two questions basically? How long was the longest hour that you spent in VR in
Oh,
a one
that's
time? Like,
interesting.
I really want to know, like, because we personally also we use it, but for me it was max 2 hours. Not because I was having headache or anything. It was just like, I was done. I didn't work with anyone. I was alone. So after 2 hours I came out. But I want to know, like, for you, because you're always like, how long was the longest hour?
I'm gonna go probably, I'm pretty sure it's probably like in the 4 hour mark, just
Wow,
hanging
nice.
Okay.
out with someone talking, working on stuff. It was the plugged in headset, so there wasn't the battery issue either. But like I'd say my average time on daily is between like, if I really don't have time, probably still in there like 30 minutes, but it's probably averages about like an
Nice.
hour or so, just because I don't have, in general, I don't have that much chunk of time to do one thing. It's more about that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
And what sort of things you do in VR? So I know that you are working a lot with Gravity Sketch, but is there any other specific, I wouldn't call it app, but like work that you do? Is it like meeting with friends or with other creators? What other stuff that you do throughout your day in VR?
Yeah, so I mean, it's become super Gravity Sketch focused, honestly, and I
Yeah.
have like
Yeah.
my Gravity Sketch crew, and yeah, so we meet up and we work together, and we have monthly meetups called the Metaverse Artisans, and we have like Discord and everything, and we have our own. I think we just started Instagram like last week. Yeah, so it's a really cool community of.
Wait, is this an open group or is this like a closed private group? Because it sounds very interesting. I'm sure there's gonna be some people in the future that might want to join this
Yeah,
group.
you just we let people in. We just check that your Gravity Sketch level is at the level that we're comfortable with.
You're not a noob,
Yeah,
essentially.
Basically, yeah.
You can't just start drawing and destroying all the objects that everyone creates.
We check your sub D models, stuff like that, and then yeah. So we if people are listening to this and interested, and you're a huge Gravity Sketch fan, check us out.
How do they check you guys out? Like, is it on your page, or do you guys have a separate page on Instagram that they need to go to DM you guys?
Yeah,
how's
that's
the
pretty
way
new,
to
so
do
I'm
that?
just gonna have to look up the exact spelling just in case I don't say anything wrong. It's Metaverse
Yeah.
underscore artisans.
Okay.
Okay, Metaverse_artisans. DM the page. Is that how
Yeah, let's do
people
it.
can
Let's
get
do
in?
that. Or
Okay.
DM me. I can
Okay.
also
Okay.
be the
I might make a DM myself. It sounds. I've been very lonely in VR. I'm looking for friends in the virtual reality world. But honestly, we have tried the VR Gravity Sketch. I was into Gravity Sketch for a while actually, and I was working with my friend in there.
He's
with
promoting
Catalyst.
himself to get into the group.
Yeah, I'm just saying my sub-D models are very nice. They're clean topologies. I can texture model myself in Blender as well if you guys need me to. I'm not expensive. All right, just letting you guys know. But no, like jokes aside, I genuinely do believe that VR modeling, it's not to replace like Blender modeling. There's still so many things you can do in Blender that I believe in VR it's just going to take you a little while longer because of all the shortcuts and everything that are available and the amount of things that you can do in Blender. But I am 100% sure that VR modeling is so much more fun. I've tried it. It's just so much more intuitive when you start grabbing things and moving them yourself. And plus, when you got a friend in there, like doing it with you, it's a completely different experience.
It's intuitive. It's way easier and faster to learn. It doesn't have that kind of, that factor like when you
Complexity
first
as well.
open Blender and you're like, whoa, because you don't know what any of those things are, and you're just like, or then you see from some screenshot of like 4 windows, and you're like, oh, trying to do 3D on a 2D plane, like, oh, this is gonna be rough. And I mean, I was kind of doing that at the same time, but then I was doing my serious models in Blender for a bit, and was just playing around more in Gravity Sketch. Like this is like years ago, and then through they were opening up the collab features, and I met my closest VR buddy, and he was telling me that he makes, because I said, yeah, I love Gravity Sketch, but it's like, what did I say? It's like, it's not that accurate though, right? You can't do, I forgot what I said. And he's like, oh, I make prosthetics for the medical university down the road using
VR.
Gravity Sketch. And I was like, and then you clean it up in something else. And he's like, no, then right to the 3D printer. And then I went,
what?
Okay, yeah. So that blew my mind, and was like also like a shift in my brain. So my process is almost always, probably 99%, I start in Gravity Sketch and then I move to Blender, because it's like, the sketch is in there, but I work so fast, I get like 80%, 90% of my model done quickly. It's fun, everything. And then I'm just like cleaning up in Blender essentially, or texturing.
Okay, question. Do you model quicker and more creatively now that you're doing it in the 3D space? Or would you say, okay, all right, so you do that more?
Because
okay.
I feel like I'm so it's such an iterative process. Like I'll make something and then I'll go back and I'll change it a lot more. And I feel like with Blender, when I work, just for some reason, I'm way more like kind of point A to point B. I think it's
Right.
because it's not as flexible, and who I am as an artist, and have had, I used to draw a lot. Actually, funny thing about drawing is I used to just like absolutely love drawing and drew all the time. Then I got an iPad and got into Procreate, and every day I was just sitting. We'd be watching TV, and I'm just doing something. Like I could not Procreate. And now since we have AI though, I like don't draw anymore. Like it's completely replaced. And I think that's kind of sad, but part of my brain is like it's just more efficient to prompt the
Hmm.
sketch and then move into 3D. And like because
Yeah.
Procreate process after I got so into 3D became more of a like, oh, this is my idea part. This is my reference image that I'll use in 3D, because now 3D is the thing that I is
Yeah.
yeah became like a bigger passion. And but yeah, since AI is kind of just like stomped out Procreate, which is sad, but yeah.
But it's
That's
crazy that you brought up that you were drawing a lot and then now you stopped drawing because now you are using AI. So I want to really point out to this idea of how do you see AI impacting the creative community? Is it a creative partner or is it a threat to what they do? Because from your experience on the drawing side, you're not going to draw anymore. If you were someone who made money out of drawing, probably there would be a problem there. But now that you are using that to, I would say that you are faster probably because you are just giving a text prompt. So you now have a creative partner right beside you. How do you see that, or how do you balance these two things?
The only way to see it is as a creative partner and move forward with it, because I mean you've seen it. We all know all the debates and the arguments, but in the end, sometimes I look at those things and I go, it just doesn't matter because it's here, and I've adapted and will just continue moving forward because there's nothing else. Like, what else could you do, right? Like, even if you thought like, oh,
Yeah.
this threatens me or my livelihood, that sucks, but like, it's not gonna change anything. These are powerful tools, and they are forcing you to evolve your the way you work, your workflow, everything. So that just becomes you're just leveling. Someone has forced you to level up, even if you didn't make
yeah.
that decision yourself.
It's like as if you're working in a company and this like A-lister just comes in and he knows how to draw, how to
Yeah,
model, how to sketch, and he's learning things every day. I think that's the best way to imagine. Imagine
The
you're working in a
intern, like
company.
like intern
Yeah, this
comes in.
intern, you have like 10 years experience in the company, you're like senior
yeah.
level. Then this intern comes in, suddenly has fire, and he's learning modeling in like a week, texturing in like another week, he's in texturing. Then he can learn all the softwares, in like a couple of months. It's I told Farad, because Farad asked me, I asked him, I said, are you scared for where AI is going? Not in terms of like Terminator stuff, that's another topic. I'm talking about like actually for our job and for what we do. He said no. I said, I wouldn't say I'm scared, but I definitely get worried. As someone who started learning 3D and how much effort I put in, I did, of course, every single day when I wake up and I see a new piece of news, like, hey, I can do this. Now I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay, I spent like 2 years learning that shit. And now, like, you can do it. And I genuinely, like, that part of me that did that, like you said, like, you still love drawing. That hasn't changed. But if you still want to create and you want to create content and you want to stay competitive in the market, you have to create quick, right? Because if other people, like, people are now completely creating content based on AI. Like Mr. Grateful, I don't know if you've seen him. He started using ChatGPT as a social media agent, and he was at 80K or now 100 something K because a scam bot attacked his page. But he was at 80K all because of AI. He said, like, I'm just gonna ask AI,
Yep.
ChatGPT, to help me get to 100K. So when people like that, that's what I say. I say, okay, yes, you can have your feelings about AI, and they can be negative. But if people like Mr. Grateful are spending literally less than 30 days to get to 100K on Instagram, where people have suffered for years and couldn't even get to 20, 30, 40, 50, you have to see it at face value and be like, you know what? It's either I'm going to adapt, evolve, and learn how to use this tool, or I can, I don't want to even use the term cry about it, because I also feel that way. Like, I don't think anybody doesn't feel that way. If you're someone who works hard enough, you're going to feel worried, because all the time you spend, it feels like you wasted it. But
I mean,
like you said, it doesn't really matter.
I can completely emphasize with your point because all that time I put into the 3D stuff, and we're on like the cusp of tomorrow an announcement of like, hey, cool, you just put your 2D image in and you get a fully modeled, rigged, textured, AI created thing, and it only takes 12 seconds to make. I mean, that's gonna happen, and then we will be forced to start using that, which is partly exciting, but I did love the process. So that's
Mhm.
yeah, I did love, like, I'm already talking about it like it's over. But yeah,
Yeah.
It's in the
Yeah.
past.
After this podcast, OpenAI just announced it takes to 3D creator.
Dude, no, because it's people, it's, whose fault it is? It's people like Ben and Don Allen. You know why? Because when you look at people like them, I'm talking about normal, like, people who are watching and not creating content, watching you guys like using all these new AI tools. They're like, oh shit, like, I gotta keep up. And it's true, it's our fault as well, because it's everybody's fault if you think about it, because everyone wants to be competitive, right? For selfish or selfless reasons, we want to create and we want to share, and to do that, we have to use the latest tools. And like you said, whether we want it or not, it's happening. And Benfluencer is going to keep creating content about it. Bad Decisions is going to keep creating content about it. Don Allen is going to keep creating content about it. Everyone in this space is going to use it, because if you don't, you are going to fall behind. It's like companies who decided not to use the internet when, websites became a thing. Like, yes, they could have bitched about the internet all they wanted and started putting ads on newspapers, but everybody who did that probably died out.
that's I
It's
think
just
that's
it's just what
yeah,
happened.
that's the best way to say it. And then on the other hand, though, I mean, this doesn't mean drawing is over or anything that's the handcrafted is over, because that will, through all this stuff, get a value as well, because someone will have like and I think in the beginning you could just create content from AI, and you could start a whole account where you're just posting AI generated images, and people are like, wow, that's fantastic that an AI can do it. But
Yeah.
we're at a point where we all know that that's what AI can do, and like it's
Yeah.
almost like the value of those keeps getting less and less, right? Because I'm like, yeah, I can also
Yes.
just type that in and get that result. So like there will of course be, I soon, very famous traditional artists popping up within this space of like within the digital space, where they're like just
For sure.
showing what you guys are doing, right? Like all day there's a recap of them painting, and that painting, that already exists now, but I think that that will have so much more value, because I was thinking about all
Mhm.
this cool stuff. Like I could put frames all over my home, digital frames, and I could
Mhm.
change every day, like, oh, my theme today is AI generated like warrior animals, and then they'd be everywhere, right? And I was somewhere and I saw something really cool, and I thought, oh, like that's interesting that I don't think to put like to create my own AI visuals and put them up. And I reality check myself. I'm like, because I
Mhm.
somehow don't, like, they don't have that value for me fully. And then I thought,
Mhm.
why do we love, why are you proud if you have a famous artist's work in your house? Because you're saying like,
Mhm.
oh, they could do it, and they did it, and they sat there and
Yes.
they
They
did
did
it.
it.
And that will also, grow in strength. And I don't have the statistic about this, but this is just something that I saw on a bunch of Instagram videos lately. Like there was like a new dating app called like a day of the week or something, and people, and the new statistic that people want to meet people in real life now in bars and stuff. I'm like, that's coming
Mhm.
from apps made it too easy. Like before there were the dating apps, right?
Yes.
People were like, oh, you have to do it that way. That's tough. And then apps came and it was like, oh, it's so easy now. And it just became like the way to meet a person.
Just swipe
Yeah,
and
exactly.
like
And then
yeah.
now it seems from the statistics that I saw, like it's trending in the direction of like, I want to meet someone, I want to have like a real interaction. I think that's always, we always go so hard in one direction and then there's a correction. So yeah, so I think if you're like a digital artist, you should definitely embrace these tools and use them so that you are
Mhm.
not you where you were before, maybe a digital artist, you were like whole production team now, an
Hmm.
army of one. And if you don't want to do that, your time I think will come. Then embrace it, document your process, show your
Hmm.
drawing on paper, show the whole process. And there are many, I've seen many TikTok, Instagrams, videos about that stuff. So that we're also always fascinated by process. So I think that will survive as well.
I
No,
genuinely believe that.
that perfectly makes sense what you said. But so now that you have embraced all these AI tools and you know you've been using it, what's your favorite weapon of choice when it comes to AI tools?
I
As of today, of course, because
Yeah.
tomorrow that might
Yeah.
Yeah,
change.
true.
Like,
Good point. So at the time of recording, no, just today again, I was using both Midjourney and the experimental Dolly version
Mhm.
to do some visuals. And again today, I was thinking, wow, like right now, I'm preferring the flexibility and the variety that the new Dolly model can give me,
Mhm.
because I was trying like
Actually,
the
can you
same.
talk about it? Because I saw the videos that you put about the experimental Dolly 2 on your Instagram. What is it about? Because like, is it open access to everybody? And is it a new model? Because I don't think we can use it.
Yeah, I
I mean,
think it's like
I know you
a
can use it.
beta of a, so it's like it says 2.5 experimental on when I use it. And it's just really cool because it's much better than the Dolly 2. And it can just, I think Dolly's strength more than Midjourney was different styles. Like Midjourney
Mhm.
results often have a Midjourney kind of a look, and
Yeah.
that's when I was doing the same prompts in both of them a lot today. I really realized like, wow, okay, for what I'm trying to do right now, like Dolly's super flexible, and I really like that. And of course, the other weapon of choice is yeah, GPT-4 is just insane. Like I
Wow.
use it constantly, every day for something, and yeah, it's amazing.
You know, if we have this talk with Farhad that in the future, I genuinely will not mind hiring a full-time
Mhm.
prompter. I'm just being extremely serious about this. I go to Midjourney and I'm typing my prompt. I'm like, why the fuck am I not getting the results I want? Like I'm saying what I'm saying and it sounds right to me, but I genuinely know because when I go to the general Discord and I see people's like one paragraph, sort of prompt, and they're getting exactly what they're asking for, and it looks beautiful. And then I'm asking for the same thing with one line, and I'm trying to copy a little bit from their code and their prompts, and I get something, but I'm never getting the final result that I want. But I know people who are spending every
Yeah.
single hour of every day learning how to talk to these AIs. And I genuinely believe unless these become AGI and learn how to talk to us, up until that point, people who know how to prompt these AIs will get the most out of it. So if until AGI, maybe let's say that's 4 years, 3 years, whatever. I think someone who knows how to prompt these AIs can genuinely create amazing things. And I'm not that person. Like I've tried using Midjourney a lot. I get a lot of references, but I can never get a final image. And I'm like, okay, I can just go ahead and drag and
Mhm.
drop this and use this. It's quite difficult for me. How good are you talking to the AIs right now?
Yeah, I think that the way that I got into Midjourney really quickly was I was on their website, and you just see the stuff similar like to what you were doing that was the best work, and then I would look at that and
Mm-hmm.
analyze like, okay, there this part, like in the early days, it was always like Octane render 8K at the end of everything or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
So I took that, and
yeah,
then I was like, oh, cinematic lighting, and then I basically created like this like cheat sheet of this stuff does this. I don't know. I guess I, in a
mm-hmm.
way, like reverse engineered it. I was using this. I forgot what it's called. Prompt something interpreter, and you could put an image in there, and then it would
Mm-hmm.
give you break it down into a prompt. So it would do like the reverse, and that I was
Wow.
using to learn as well.
Yo, that's
And
crazy.
then most recently, I like bounce prompt sometimes off Chat GPT 4. So I'll like today, I had a very clear image in my mind, but have you guys ever played StarCraft? There's like these bunkers.
I have
Yeah.
never played it, but
Okay,
I've watched the game a
I
lot.
needed this bunker in the snow, and it kept. I didn't know like what word to use to get what I was going. So I was
Describe it, right?
explaining. I was just like explaining my situation to ChatGPT, and I was like, "Can you help me like
Please,
come up
please.
with some like prompts and some words and suggestions for that?" And then it was like, "Yeah, no problem." And it's all this stuff. It just started suggesting like subterranean bunker, and I was like, I like that one, like all these things, and I
That
just took it from there. So it's like really I just use it as like my buddy in the corner, and yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I get out of my prompts. Yeah.
That's good. I definitely, if there is a course on Udemy or YouTube talking about like how to talk to artificial intelligence, I would take that course like any day, because I feel like, again, if you know how to prompt these guys, especially GPT-4 now as well, like sometimes Farhad is I learned a lot about GPT-4 from Farhad and how he talks to it. Like I was trying to talk to it in a very linear fashion, but Farhad started like having a conversation with GPT 3.5 actually at the time.
You're good friends now.
Yeah, they're good friends now, and so I was like, okay, you're supposed to keep a conversation and ask you to change this and change that, and it's working really well now. So I mean, like I said, I think that's going to eventually change when AGI comes around. And speaking of AGI, I have a question. I'm not sure if you heard about this. I'm pretty actually, you know what? I scratched that. I'm sure you've heard about this already since you're in the space, but that open letter that was given to OpenAI by Elon Musk, Steve Wozniak, and all these big people in the space of AI or sort of like tech who've signed that paper, or even people who used to work at OpenAI have signed that paper. So for anybody who doesn't have a background story about what happened, just a quick recap. In that letter, they were asking OpenAI to sort of stop developments on upcoming models.
Not OpenAI, everybody. Anything stronger than GPT-4,
Yes.
halt the development for 6
For
months.
6 months,
Yeah.
so they can know what are the repercussions of stronger models. And so they were raising their concerns. I haven't heard a lot about it over the past few days. I want to know your take on it. What do you think about someone who's using AI as a tool for yourself? Now, this is past, for designers. This is not about designers anymore. This is about the
Yeah.
world. What is your take on where artificial intelligence is going, and if we should be scared, we should be concerned? Should we
Terminator
listen?
way of being scared. Not the job. I think job is the second thing.
Yeah.
I'm scared for your life
Yeah.
because of AI.
Again, this is like cat's out of the bag here. That everything, it's not just one company doing it. It's so many companies doing it. It's different like countries doing it. Like it's to ask it to be stopped. I mean, in capitalism just doesn't even work, right? Like, and the fact that
Yeah.
Elon Musk did start his own thing. So someone who's like literally on, starting and then says, "Hey guys, just like totally selfishly,
Stop
Stop
till
for
I
a
go
while
to-
while
totally
while I work
selfishly,
on mine.
guys, just pause real quick." I don't know. There's a lot of yeah.
You know what it's like? It's like, hey Ben, do you mind stop creating content for like a month? Give us some time to catch up.
Yeah.
Just like stop your content. Don't grow. We're just gonna work on our content, and then you can come back again after like
That's
6
fine.
months.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I have some questions about that. I don't know. But yeah, we can't stop it now. I'm really optimistic and I focus on the things that I'm excited about, all these like amazing benefits that I've already started to see in the medical field. The advancements there are going to be so insane and fast, and I'm super excited about that. I also am excited to have, because you know how like so many different companies already are like bringing it in, like, oh, now you can do this, and they're all bringing like these different AI tools into their product, and I'm so excited for that to just enter like with taxes, and like me just not have to,
Oh,
or
sit down again.
all of those accounting things or any of those things where like you sit down like, I'm an adult now and I have to, and it's just like taking that off of your plate because it's just so much better. I mean, I had GPT just explain something about like the tax German situation to me today better than anyone has done before. and I've talked to like 3 different people about it, and it was always just, like, it's always the same gist, but like today I was like, oh, now I get it, you know.
Now it
And
makes sense. Yeah.
I'm just excited to have so many of those tasks that, like, I don't know, you guys know, you're creative, so you love doing this, and then
Yeah.
even like you love the editing to a lot of, or some of the degree, and all that stuff, and then some, like, yeah, fill out this invoice, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Completely redundant tasks that you are not interested in.
I would
If
say government-related work, filling
Yeah.
out forms,
Yeah.
filling out all these things.
any sort of forms ever,
like
where it's requiring the same things from you, your
Yeah.
name, your address, all those
and
stuff.
the way
just
that they're
fucking shove
written
it.
often, right, where you're like,
Yeah.
I don't have a law degree, I can't even understand, like, or not.
Yeah, I'm like, what you mentioned, like, about tax. I'm like, they are asking it in a way that I shouldn't be able to do it, and
Yes.
I
You
should
should
get
pay someone to do it for you. I fucking agree. One question. I think he's hiding something. He mentioned that, the cat's out of the bag for AI. He's not scared. But you just mentioned you were looking for bunkers in your design. Are you secretly creating a fucking bunker and not telling us about it? He literally just told us he was looking for bunker designs.
How to make a bunker.
How to make a bunker so when AI attacks us. Like, you literally just spilled your beans, man. You did it yourself. I'm not even joking. But jokes aside, I have one thing I want to ask, and I think, Farhad, actually, we didn't talk about this before because we do talk about the guests that are coming on, sort of throw around some questions. But knowing that you're so optimistic about the future, and we love that about you, what does Benfluencer look like? Not appearance-wise, not the VR headset you're wearing, but what you're doing in 5 years' time. Especially with all these advancements coming, what do you think you'll be doing in this space? Do you think you're still going to be doing exactly what you're doing now? Because that's sort of not possible. I think like a lot of the stuff that you're doing now, probably AI could do it as well, like the modeling part, right? We just talked about this. What do you think you're going to be branching out into and spending most of your time on in 5 years' time?
Or at least hoping to do, like,
Yeah.
since AI, if AI can do a lot of your work, what would be the thing that, I love this, I want to focus on this, so AI can do the rest?
So before I started, you mentioned Don Allen earlier. So I used to be like just the idea guy for years, and I had an idea, an infinite amount of ideas and everything. And when I would work with teams, I would be not very hands-on because I'd be like, an idea. And through frustrations that happen with like a project not getting done or started fast enough or anything, I started becoming more and more hands-on and started building, like, I was working with AR filters before, but then I started making them and building them so I could test them, so I could see, so I could show already the client things earlier, and than a team that didn't have the time, to do stuff like that. So I started getting more and more hands-on, and then Don Allen's account just really inspired me so much with everything he was doing, and I started joining his live streams and asking questions and learning those things. And now what you see is someone who just does a lot of stuff. Like, that's what I do. I create like myself all of these things, and I think I might go back then to who I was before, but the team will be this team of AIs where I will just be like, all right, guys, I got this idea. And then ChatGPT is working on it. OpenAI's DALL-E 2's or DALL-E 6 by then is cranking out the stuff. Maybe that's what I'll go. I will step up into this like new level of creative director, AI collaborator, something like that. I could totally see that happening. And between now and then, I also want to get more into the AI tools that I haven't been into, like Stable Diffusion, and working with like the level of like training an AI model a little bit, and the things that you can do that go a little bit above what you can do with the more user friendly interface tools. And I think that's probably on my path ahead as well.
That's really impressive, and I think a lot of creators would see the same path for themselves, because I think what is really important is having that idea to move forward, and if you don't know the idea, AI cannot help you.
Yeah.
Basically, like you need to have.
Unless you
need
ask
to-
ChatGPT for the idea and then ask it again for the prompt on how to make it, and then ask the other AI tool
Basically,
to
you're
create
just
it.
an operator for ChatGPT.
Or just tell GPT, just run my life. You know, like do whatever you want.
I want to go to the beach.
This is Benfluencer. This is my page. This is what I've done.
Go and figure.
Figure out what I'm gonna do for the next 10 years. Because I mean that could be possible, but I mean there's no point in living if that's what we're gonna do. But I mean, again, going back to what you said, I think you said it beautifully. What AI is going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to be more of creating the idea, generating the ideas that even AI can have ideas and they can be great, but you know your ideas will be always unique to you, and you're gonna be putting in a meaning to it that maybe AI wouldn't be able to do. And at the same time, you mentioned this. It's the same thing about art. You will pay to have people's art, for example, on your wall. And if AI makes the same art, you're not going to give a shit. You're not going to pay a cent for it because it's not Beeple for you if you're a Beeple lover, right? So I think, like you mentioned, it's definitely going to change a lot of things, but at the core of it, we're still going to be the same. It's just how we're going to adapt and create more and create faster. And I think that's the beautiful part about AI. That's why I'm so optimistic about it, is it's going to allow us to create faster. Right now, businesses can do many more things compared to the year 2000 because of the internet, because of, you know, co-working, like you mentioned, in VR. And I think that's just going to accelerate. Now,
I want to talk about an AR tool that was just released last week. I don't know if you guys heard about it. SAM. It was released by Meta. Segment anything model. So it's an AI model that can cut out anything from any image with one click.
I saw that.
So you can imagine you'll just put any image, it will automatically segment it, and you can take out that part. And the application that they explained for this AI model is in agriculture, medical. You can imagine that they will give it an image and will say, oh, which one is rotten, which one is the right fruit, which one is not. So, and it is in AR, VR, mobile, and have you heard about it, Ben?
Yeah,
About
definitely.
this new
But
AI tool called
I
SAM?
hadn't heard about the those examples you said, like with like what apple is raw, and then I was thinking how, because I started thinking right away, like, oh, how would you use this for medicine, or why is that? Yeah, but that's very interesting.
So the images, they like you give it thousands of images and you say, hey, find the cancer cells or find the, just crop out immediately. So it's crazy how these new tools are coming about. And I don't know if you heard that Meta is also really shifting a little bit more into AI and creating AI tools. So this was their first release.
I'm sure they have a lot more up their sleeve. It's just the first one they're releasing. But when you bring that up, like the moment, like Ben said, the moment you mentioned it, I was thinking about all the medical tools that you can bring out from that. But actually, selfishly, I'm like, fuck, when I want to make a new thumbnail, it's just gonna be so much easier to cut myself out now. Like, there's so many things, because like that process, of course, is automated now with like iPhones. You can just hold it, There's a lot of tools like that. But I think with Sam, when I saw the photo, Sam, right?
Sam.
With Sam, it's just a lot more accurate, and you can do many different parts of the image. So I'm looking forward to it. Can you use it now? You can, right?
I don't know if it's released or not, but one thing was interesting that you can use it in AR and VR. And that's the first time I see that the AI is coming directly to these spaces and you can use it directly. So that's what I'm really excited about. And I'm thinking, what would be the application for VR? And I'm thinking, I really can't think of anything yet. But what was the demo was showing that the guy was wearing a headset. And for example, he was cooking, and then you could see immediately, you could segment all the ingredients right in front of him.
Yeah.
And
Essentially in XR, right?
Yes.
Like when you can see through, I think that's going to become useful when you can see through things. Honestly, sorry, go
but
ahead.
then the power of that technology is not the way that it was kind of presented, the way that I also thought of it when I first saw it. I thought, okay, cool, I can cut things out. It's actually the fact that it has this understanding and can give you, so like you said, in medical field, like find the cells that are like a tumor cell or something, or with the ingredients, understand what all of them are and which one you need, and give you that added benefit. So that real world understanding is what gives AR the power to be from how we're using it right now to like the science fiction level where we all know we were going to go anyway. But that's like that technology understanding level that was missing. And through AI and like all the crazy stuff that's happening in this field is now being presented to us. So yeah.
I after this 1 hour talk now, we're almost 1 hour 10 minutes, and we're about to finish. But I actually came to an understanding because my concern with the AR space specifically, not VR, just AR. We're talking about like Metaspark, Snapdragon Studio, all this has always been when can it push past that level? Because I feel like if you're an AR creator, there's this like really visible layer in
Brick
AR
wall that you hit it every single
yeah,
time.
and it's the limitation of size, people's phones, like the 4 megabytes, the 8 megabytes, and people as 3D artists, like, fuck, I can go to 1 GB in like, my scene. Like, I can go that high and I want to, but like, you just can't do that. And I'm like always thinking about how can we turn this into something that everyone wants to use outside of, purely face filters that go viral on TikTok, for example, right? We're talking about like really big use cases here. Of course, the face filters are phenomenal. We've done our face filters and we love it. It's really fun. But the actual application that's going to make millions of people use these experiences, now that I'm thinking, I think AI is going to be the one that's going to change it. If Meta starts adding an AI into the AR, so when you actually take out the experience that Benfluencer created on his page, and he can segment things out, because SnapLens does that too, right? It does have the segmentation with ML, but then when it becomes widely accessible and then you can do a lot more with it, we saw with 8th Wall now you can scan a 3D object and clone it and drop it as well, right? Like right there in the scene. Like when all of these gets combined, I think actually AI is going to be the key that pushes AR past its limits and make it really widely
100%. The thing that clients had always said when we were offering a filter, I've been doing stuff for clients with AR for going on 7 years, but the question was always like, but how do they, will they use it? How will they get to it? They can just point their camera at it. They just point their phone at it. That's what they want. They want that like maximum ease. And it was always, no, you have to go through the filter. We can take the QR code. That'll take them right to the filter. But it was always, they just wanted it that you point your phone at their product, the label of their product, and it just works. And I feel like that's now closer than ever because that's solved by AI. What you were saying with it understands what that logo is. It can, for every Coke bottle, for every whatever, you can have, Coke then pays Meta X amount of money so that it just pops the filter up every time that camera's even near a Coke bottle, even near that label. And I think that's just going to be crazy because then it's going to be so fun to use AR experiences because you're like, oh, cool. I mean, Snap played with that a couple of years ago, even when they just made it so you could scan things, but those weren't like necessarily experiences, but you could scan a cup and it would be like, oh, this is a coffee cup. And it would suggest some filter that was somehow related, or you point out your plants and it tells you what plant that is based on the leaf. But anyway, so I completely agree with you. Like that's going to step everything up.
Fantastic. Sorry, Ben. Okay. All right. Our mic is back. I wanted to ask if we can change the batteries for the recorder, but it's back. Okay, perfect. I'm just gonna cut this part really quickly. That is exactly what I was thinking about as well. We had a lot of issues with clients as well when they wanted to have AR effects, and it's always been like the ease of usability. And like you mentioned, I think this is the step that is going to change it, and I'm looking forward to it. And since we're also running out of time, I don't know if you have any questions, but I just want to say one thing. I would definitely love to have you back, especially I would say
I didn't feel this 1 hour. When you said it's more than 1 hour, I was like, shit, every single time I have to look at my watch, but now it's been great.
It's been phenomenal. And I honestly have like 100 more questions, but I think what will be valuable is whatever we talked about today will be fucking obsolete in like 2 months. We need to update whatever we talked about because we talked so much about where AI is going, and I'm sure it'll be amazing and fun to come back again. And once AI has developed a little bit more, maybe integrated into AR, to come and just look back and see how long did it actually take. Did it actually happen the way we thought it's going to happen, or was it completely different?
Yeah,
so
and with the
first of all, I just want to say,
Yeah. After Apple release, we're gonna talk about it. That's for sure.
You're gonna be the first person that's gonna come on. We're gonna talk about the Apple headset, and I think it's gonna be amazing. You're gonna have to review it for us.
That sounds good.
But just saying, thank you so much, Ben. You've been amazing. Just love chatting with you. It's been really fun, and I learned a bunch of things. about what you do and about where you stand when it comes to AI, AR, and all this stuff. One thing I want to ask you, Farah, I know you might have something, but just want to let you know if you can tell everybody watching right now if there's anything they should look forward to with your work, if you're working on something that is interesting, or maybe just your socials that you want to share with people so they can go check out everything that you do.
Sure. I'm at Benfluencer on Instagram, and I'm Benjamin Desai on LinkedIn. So add me. Professional contacts always welcome as well. And yeah, I have a couple just of personal collab projects coming up, and then I'm working for CyberBrokers, an NFT company that I'm also going to be doing more collab posts with on my channel. So I'm doing a lot of new AI experiments whenever possible. Like you mentioned earlier, prototypes. I like to check out what's possible, or if I have a crazy idea, I just want to test it out. So I definitely recommend, if that's something that's interesting for you, yeah, check out at Benfluencer on Instagram. That's where I do everything first.
You should 100%. That's where I got a lot of my AI news and how to use these new tools, because Ben always have beta access. So if you don't have access to things and you want to see how those things work, you can check it out as his channel. But really, Ben, thank you so much for joining us. It was great.
Yeah, 100%, Ben. We'll look forward to seeing you again. And also, like Farad said, check out Benfluencer's page. You're going to get a lot of inspiration, a lot of creativity coming out. And hopefully we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much, Ben. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys later.